The Lotus Sutra, Chapter 23, Entrustment. Thereupon Bodhisattva Nakshatra Raja Samkusumi Bijna addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, why does Bodhisattva Bhaisajya Raja wander in this Saha world? O Bhagavat, this Bodhisattva Bhaisajya Raja has performed hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of nayutas of difficult and arduous practices. Splendid, O Bhagavat, I entreat you to explain it even a little, so that all the devas, nagas, yakshas, gandharvas, asuras, garudas, kinnaras, mahoragas, humans and non-humans, and also the assemblies of the bodhisattvas who have come from the other lands, and the Shravakas, will rejoice on hearing it. Then the Buddha spoke to Bodhisattva Nakshatra Raja Samkusumi Bijna, saying, In the remote past, beyond kalpas as immeasurable as the sands of the Ganges River, there was a Buddha named Chandra Surya Vimala Prabhasari, an arhat, completely enlightened, perfect in knowledge and conduct, well-departed, knower of the world, unsurpassed, tamer of humans, teacher of devas and humans, Buddha Bhagavat. With this Buddha were 80 kotis of great bodhisattva mahasattvas, and an assembly of great Shravakas, as many as the sands of 72 Ganges rivers. The lifespan of this Buddha was 42,000 kalpas, and the lifespans of the bodhisattvas were also equal to this. In his land there were no women, no hell-dwellers, no hungry ghosts, no animals, no asuras, and no calamities. The land was level like the palm of one's hand, and was made of lapis lazuli. It was adorned with jeweled trees, and was covered with jeweled canopies with various hanging flowered banners. This world was filled with jeweled vases and incense burners. There were platforms made of the 7 treasures. For each tree there was a platform, and each tree stood away from the platform a distance of no more than a bowshot. All the bodhisattvas and Shravakas sat under these jeweled trees. On the top of every jeweled platform were hundreds of kotis of devas who played divine music and sang in praise and homage to the Buddha. Then the Buddha expounded the Lotus Sutra for Bodhisattva Sava Rupa Samdarshana and numerous other bodhisattvas and Shravakas. Bodhisattva Sava Rupa Samdarshana and numerous other bodhisattvas and Shravakas devoted himself entirely to severe practices. Following the teachings of the Buddha Chandra Surya Vimala Prabhasari, he strove and wandered up and down in the single-minded search for enlightenment for a full 12,000 years, and he attained the samadhi called Sava Rupa Samdasana. After having attained this samadhi, he rejoiced a great deal and thought thus, I have attained the samadhi called Sava Pasam Dasana entirely because of the power I attained through hearing the Lotus Sutra. I will now pay homage to the Buddha Chandra Surya Vimala Prabhasari and the Lotus Sutra. Immediately after he had entered this samadhi, Mandarava and great Mandarava flowers and finely powered solid and black sandalwood fell from the sky, filling the air like clouds and raining down upon the earth. It also rained the perfume of sandalwood from the inner seacoast of Mount Sumeru. With this quantity of perfume, 6 drams of which equal the worth of this Saha world, he paid homage to the Buddha. Having paid homage to the Buddha, he emerged from Samadhi and thought this: I have paid homage to the Buddha using my transcendent power. This is, however, by no means equal to the tribute of offering my body. For a full 1,200 years, he inhaled the fragrance of sandalwood, olibanum, frankincense, clove, aloes wood, and glue trees, and drank the fragrant oil of champaka flowers. He then anointed his body with scented ornament. In the presence of the Buddha Chandra Surya Vimala Prabhashasri, he covered his body with a divine jeweled garment and with the fragrant oil. Through his transcendent power and vows, he set his body alight, which illuminated worlds equal in number to the sands of 80 kotis of Ganges rivers. At the same time, all the Buddhas in these worlds praised him, saying, Splendid, splendid, O son of a virtuous family. This is the true perseverance. This is called the True Dharma offering to the Tathagata. It stands no comparison, even if one were to pay tribute with flowers, perfumes, necklaces, burning incense, scented powders, ointments, divine silk banners, canopies, perfumes of sandalwood from the inner sea coast of Mount Sumeru, and various other things like this. It stands no comparison, even if one were to offer one's kingdom or wife and children. O son of a virtuous family, this is the supreme offering. This is the highest and best of all offerings, because you offer the Dharma to the Tathagatas. Having spoken these words, all became silent. His body was alight for 1,200 years. After this period passed, his body burned out. Because he had paid tribute to the Dharma like this, Bodhisattva Savarupa Samdarshana was reborn after his death in the land of the Buddha Chandra Surya Vimala Prabhashasri. He was born spontaneously, sitting cross-legged in the house of King Vimaladatta. Then he immediately spoke these verses for the sake of his father, saying, O great king, you should now know that I, in an instant, attained the samadhi called Savarupa Samdarshana in the place where I wandered, and practicing with enthusiasm and perseverance, I set aside this, my beloved body. I have paid homage to the Bhagavat in order to attain the utmost wisdom. After having spoken these verses, he addressed his father, saying, The Buddha Chandra Surya Vimala Prabhashasri is now in this world. Having previously paid homage to the Buddha, I attained the dharani of understanding the speech of all sentient beings, and heard 800,000 of myriads of kotis of nayutas of verses, and tens of billions of verses, hundreds of billions of verses, and thousands of billions of verses of the Lotus Sutra. O great king, I will now once again pay homage to this Buddha. Having spoken this, he sat on the 7-jeweled platform and ascended into the air as high as 7 tala trees. Having come before the Buddha, he bowed until his forehead touched the Buddha's feet. He praised the Buddha in verse with his 10 fingers pressed together, saying, Your countenance is rare and wonderful. Your brilliance illuminates the 10 directions. Once, long ago, I paid you homage. I now come to behold you again. Thereupon, Bodhisattva Savarupa Samdarshana, having spoken this verse, addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, the Bhagavat is yet in this world. Then the Buddha, Chandra Surya Vimala Prabhashasri, said to Bodhisattva Savarupa Samdarshana, O son of a virtuous family, the time of my parinirvana has come. The time of extinction has come. I ask you now to prepare my bed. I will enter parinirvana tonight. The Buddha said again to Bodhisattva Savarupa Samdarshana, O son of a virtuous family, I entrust you with the Buddha Dharma and all the Bodhisattvas and great Shravakas, as well as the Dharma for highest complete enlightenment. I will entrust you also with the seven jeweled world, all the jeweled trees, jeweled platforms, and the devas who are my servants in the great manifold cosmos. After my parinirvana, I will also entrust you with all my relics. You should distribute them far and wide and pay them homage. You should also erect a great many thousands of stupas. Having addressed Bodhisattva Savarupa Samdarshana in this way, the Buddha Chandra Surya Vimala Prabhashasri entered parinirvana in the last watch of that night. Thereupon, having seen the Buddha's parinirvana, Bodhisattva Savarupa Samdarshana was grieved and saddened, and longed and yearned for the Buddha. Having prepared a pyre with sandalwood from the inner sea-coast of Mount Sumeru, he cremated the Buddha's body in homage. After the fire had gone out, he collected all the relics. He had 84,000 jeweled urns made, and erected 84,000 stupas as high as 3 worlds. They were adorned with poles from which hung all kinds of banners and canopies, and various kinds of jeweled bells. Then Bodhisattva Sava Samdarshana thought this, although I have paid tribute in this way, I am not yet satisfied. I will now further pay homage to the relics. Then he spoke to all the great assemblies of bodhisattvas, great Shravakas, Devas, Nagas, and Yakshas, saying, You should pay full attention. I will now pay homage to the relics of the Buddha Chandra Surya Vimala Prabhashasri. Having said these words, he made an offering before the 84,000 stupas, by burning his arms adorned with hundreds of merits for 72,000 years. He thus made innumerable Shravakas and immeasurable incalculable people set forth toward highest complete enlightenment. All of them were made to dwell in the samadhi called Savarupa Samdarshana. At that time, all the bodhisattvas, devas, humans, and asuras saw that his arms were missing, and became grieved and distressed. They said, This bodhisattva, Savarupa Samdarshana, is our teacher. He has led and inspired us. He has now burned his arms, and his body is deformed. Then Bodhisattva Savarupa Samdarshana made a vow, and said to the great assembly, I have abandoned both my arms, and I shall definitely obtain the golden body of the Buddha. If this is true and not false, then may both my arms be restored as before. Because this bodhisattva was endowed with profound merit and wisdom, after he had made this vow, his arms recovered spontaneously. At that very time, the great manifold cosmos quaked in 6 ways. It rained jeweled flowers from the heavens, and all the devas and humans experienced an unprecedented marvel. The Buddha addressed Bodhisattva Naksatra Raja Samkusumi Bhichna, saying, What do you think about this? Is Bodhisattva Savarupa Samdarshana someone unknown to you? He is none other than this Bodhisattva by Satyaraja. He undertook the practice of giving by abandoning his body immeasurable hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of nayutas of times in this way. O Nakshatra Raja Samkusumiti Bijna, if there is anyone who sets forth and wishes to attain highest complete enlightenment, he should pay homage to the stupas of the Buddha by burning either a finger or a toe. He is superior to those who pay homage by giving their countries and cities, their wives and children, all the mountains, forests, rivers, ponds, and many other rare treasures. If there is anyone who pays homage to all the Buddhas, great bodhisattvas, Pracheka Buddhas, and Arhats, by filling the great manifold cosmos with the 7 precious treasures, the merit of this person will not be equal to the surpassing merit of one who receives and holds to even a single verse consisting of 4 lines of the Lotus Sutra. O Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, just as the ocean is the greatest of streams and rivers and of all waters, this Lotus Sutra is the most profound of the sutras taught by the Tathagatas. Just as Mount Sumeru is the greatest of mountains, greater than Earth Mountain, Black Mountain, Mount Chakravada, Mount Mahachakravada, and the 10 jeweled mountains, this Lotus Sutra is the greatest of the sutras. Just as the moon is the greatest among all the stars, this Lotus Sutra is the most illuminating of the thousands of kotis of sutras. Just as the sun destroys darkness, in the same way, this sutra destroys the darkness of erring thought. Just as the noble emperor is the best of all the kings, this sutra is the noblest of all the sutras. Just as Shakra is the king of the 33 devas, this sutra is the king of sutras. Just as great Brahma is the father of all the sentient beings, in the same way, this sutra is the father of all the wise, the noble, those who have more to learn and those who do not, and those in whom the thought of enlightenment has awakened. Just as those who have entered the stream of the teaching, Shrota Apanas, those who are to return to this world once again, Sakradagamins, those who are never to return, Anagamins, Arhats and Pracheka Buddhas, are the best of all the common people. In the same way, this is the best of all the sutras taught by the Tathagatas, Bodhisattvas or Shravakas. Those who hold to this sutra are the best of all sentient beings. The Bodhisattvas are the best of all Shravakas and Pracheka Buddhas. In the same way, this sutra is the best of all sutras. Just as the Buddha is the king of the Dharma, this sutra is the king of sutras. O Nakshatra Raja Samkusumi Tabijna, this sutra saves all sentient beings. This sutra makes all sentient beings free from suffering. This sutra greatly benefits all sentient beings and brings their aspirations to fulfillment. Just as a clear, cool pond satisfies the thirsty, as a fire satisfies those suffering from a cold, as clothes from the naked. As a caravan leader for merchants, as a mother for her children, as a boat for the traveller, as a physician for the sick, as a lamp for the gloom, as a treasure for the poor, as a king for the people, as the sea for traders, and a torch for those in darkness. In the same way, this Lotus Sutra frees sentient beings from every suffering, all the pains and bonds of illness and of birth and death. If there is anyone who hears this Lotus Sutra, copies it or moves others to copy it, their merit will be limitless, even if it is measured through the Buddha's wisdom. If there is anyone who copies it and pays it tribute with flowers, perfumes, necklaces, burning incense, scented powders, fragrant ointments, banners, canopies, clothes, various kinds of ghee lamps, oil lamps, fragrant oil lamps, lamps of oil made from champaka, sumanas, patala, vasika, and navama lika trees, that person's merit will also be immeasurable. O Nakshatra Raja Samkusumi Tabijna, if there is anyone who hears this chapter, Ancient Accounts of Bodhisattva by Satyaraja, they will attain immeasurable and limitless merit. If there is any woman who hears and holds to this chapter, Ancient Accounts of Bodhisattva by Satyaraja, she will never be reborn with a female body. If there is any woman 500 years after the parinirvana of the Tathagata who hears this sutra and practices according to the teaching, she will immediately reach the dwelling of the Buddha Amitayus in the Sukhavati world, surrounded by great bodhisattvas, and will be born on a jeweled seat in a lotus flower. Never again troubled by the three poisons of greed, anger, or ignorance, by arrogance or jealousy, he will attain the bodhisattva's transcendent powers and the acceptance of the non-origination of all dharmas. After attaining this acceptance, his faculty of sight will be pure, and with this pure eye faculty, he will see all the Buddha Tathagatas, equal in number to the sands of 72 million kotis of Nayutas of Ganges rivers. At that time, all the Buddhas will praise him from afar, saying, "Splendid, splendid son of a virtuous family, you have preserved, recited, and contemplated this sutra from the teachings of the Buddha Shakyamuni and taught it to others. The merit you have obtained is immeasurable and limitless. Even fire cannot burn it, even water cannot wash it away. Even thousands of Buddhas cannot give a complete description of your merit. You have already destroyed the Maras. You have already conquered the armies of birth and death. You have defeated all enemies. O son of a virtuous family, hundreds of thousands of Buddhas together protect you with their transcendent powers. There is no one equal to you among the devas and humans of the entire world. With the exception of the Tathagata, the wisdom and meditation of all Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas can never equal yours. O Nakshatra Raja Samkusumi Tabija, such is the power of the merit and wisdom that this Bodhisattva has perfected. If there is anyone who hears this chapter, Ancient Accounts of Bodhisattva by Satyaraja, rejoices in it and praises it well, in his present life he will always exhale the fragrance of blue lotus flowers from his mouth, and will always emit the fragrance of the sandalwood on Mount Oxhead from his pores. The benefits of the qualities he has obtained are just as mentioned above. For this reason, O Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, I will entrust you with this chapter, Ancient Accounts of Bodhisattva by Satyaraja. During the period of 500 years after my parinirvana, you must spread it far and wide in Jambudvipa and not allow it to be destroyed. You must not give Mara and his men or the Devas, Nagas, Yakshas, and Kumbhanda demons any chance of destroying it. Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, you should protect this sutra with your transcendent power. Why is this? Because this sutra is good medicine for the ills of the people of Jambudvipa. If there is any sick person who hears this sutra, his illness will disappear, and he will neither die nor grow old. O Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, if you see anyone who holds this sutra, you should scatter blue lotus flowers full of scented power on him. After scattering them, you should think like this. This man will, before long, destroy the army of Mara, sitting on the grass-covered terrace of enlightenment. He will blow the conch of the Dharma, beat the drum of the great Dharma, and ferry all sentient beings across the ocean of old age, illness, and death. Therefore, if those seeking the Buddha path see those who hold to this sutra, the thought of respect should awaken in them. When this chapter, Ancient Accounts of Bodhisattva by Sajaraja, was being taught, 84,000 bodhisattvas attained the dharani of understanding the speech of all sentient beings. The Tathagata Prabhudaratna in the jeweled stupa praised Bodhisattva Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, saying, Splendid, splendid, O Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna. You have attained marvelous merit, for you have questioned the Buddha Shakyamuni about these things, and benefited all of the immeasurable numbers of sentient beings. Chapter 24. Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara. Thereupon, the Buddha Shakyamuni emitted a ray of light from his top knot, Ushnisha, the mark of a great person, and also from the tuft of white hair between his eyebrows, Una, thus illuminating all the Buddha worlds in the east, equal to the sands of 108 myriads of kotis of Nayutas of Ganges rivers. Beyond this number of worlds was the Buddha world called Vairochana Rasmi Pratimandita. In that world was the Buddha named Kamala Dala Vimala Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, a Tathagata, Arhat, completely enlightened, perfect in knowledge and conduct, well-departed, knower of the world, unsurpassed, tamer of humans, teacher of devas and humans, Buddha Bhagavat. He was respectfully surrounded by a great assembly of countless, innumerable bodhisattvas, and he expounded his teaching for them. The ray of light emitted from the tuft of white hair between the eyebrows of Shakyamuni Buddha illuminated that entire world. At that time, in the Buddha world of Vairochana Rasmi Pratimandita, there was a bodhisattva whose name was Gadgadasvara, wonderful voice. Having planted many roots of good merit over a long period, he paid homage to and closely attended immeasurable hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of Buddhas, and accomplished complete and profound wisdom. He attained the samadhis called Dvaja Grayakura, Saddharma Puṇḍarīka, Vimaladatta, Nakshatra Raja Vikridita, Anilamba Janamudra, Savaruta Kausalya, Sava Punya Samukaya, Prasadavati, Radhi Vikridita Janolka, Vyuharaja, Vimala Prabhasa, Vimalagaba, Apkritishna, and Suryavata. He thus attained the great samadhis equal in number to the sands of hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of Ganges rivers. As the light of the Buddha Shakyamuni illuminated his body, he addressed the Buddha, Kamala Dala Vimala Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bija, saying, O Bhagavat, I shall go to the Saha world, approach the Buddha Shakyamuni in homage and reverence, and see Bodhisattva Manjushri, the Prince of the Dharma, as well as Bodhisattva Baisaja Raja, Bodhisattva Pradhanasura, Bodhisattva Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, Bodhisattva Visista Karitra, Bodhisattva Vyuharaja, and Bodhisattva Baisaja Samudgata. Then the Buddha Kamala Dala Vimala Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bija addressed Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara, saying, You must not despise that world, nor think it inferior. O son of a virtuous family, the land of that Saha world is uneven and irregular, and is filled with mud, stones, mountains, and filth. The Buddha is short of body, as are the bodhisattvas. By contrast, your body is 42,000 yojanas tall, and my body is 6,800,000 yojanas tall. Your body is perfect in its bearing, and illuminated most beautifully with hundreds of millions of merits. The Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, I am now going to the Saha world through the power of the Tathagata. The carefree play of the transcendent powers of the Tathagata, and the adornment of the qualities and wisdom of the Tathagata. At that time, Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara, without rising from his seat or moving his body, entered Samadhi. Through the power of the Samadhi, he caused 84,000 jeweled lotus flowers to appear on Mount Kridakutra, not far from the seat of the Dharma. The stems were made of Jambunada gold, the leaves of silver, the pistils of diamond, and the chalices of ruby. On seeing these lotus flowers, Bodhisattva Manjushri, the Prince of the Dharma, addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, why has this marvel appeared? There are a great many millions of lotus flowers, whose stems are made of Jambunada gold, leaves of silver, pistils of diamond, and chalices of ruby. The Buddha Shakyamuni answered Manjushri, saying, The Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara wishes to come to this Saha world from the Buddha world called Kamala Dala Vimala Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, together with 84,000 bodhisattvas as his retinue. He approaches me in homage and reverence, wishing to make offerings and hear the Lotus Sutra. Manjushri asked the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, what roots of good merit has he planted, and what merits has he practiced to attain his great transcendent powers? What kind of samadhi has he practiced? I entreat you to tell us the name of this samadhi. We wish to practice it with diligence. By practicing this samadhi, we wish to see the shape, appearance, size, and manner of this bodhisattva. I entreat you, O Bhagavat, to use your transcendent powers and let us see the appearance of that bodhisattva. Then the Buddha Shakyamuni spoke to Manjushri, saying, The Tathagata Prabhutaratna, who long ago entered parinirvana, will manifest the signs for you. At that time, the Buddha Prabhutaratna addressed that bodhisattva, saying, "Come, O son of a virtuous family. Manjushri, the prince of the Dharma, wishes to see you." Thereupon, Bodhisattva Gagadasvara disappeared from his world and arrived together with 84,000 bodhisattvas. In the worlds through which he passed, the land quaked in 6 ways. 7 jeweled lotus flowers rained everywhere, and hundreds of thousands of heavenly musical instruments sounded spontaneously without being played. The eyes of this bodhisattva were as large as blue lotus leaves. Even if hundreds of thousands of myriads of moons were gathered together, they would not exceed the beauty of his countenance. His body was pure gold in color, adorned with immeasurable hundreds of thousands of merits, radiant with virtuous dignity, and brilliantly illuminated like the adamantine body of the god Narayana. Having entered the 7-jeweled platform and ascended into the air, he flew above the earth at a height of 7 tala trees. Surrounded by respectful bodhisattvas, he arrived at Mount Kridakutra in this Saha world and descended from the 7-jeweled terrace. He came before the Buddha Shakyamuni with a necklace worth hundreds of thousands in his hand, and bowed until his forehead reached the Buddha's feet. He presented the necklace to the Buddha, saying, "O Bhagavat, the Buddha Kamaladala Vimala Nakshatra Rajam Sam Kusumita Bijna inquires of the Bhagavat, are you without illness and pain? Is your daily life pleasant? Are you at ease in practice? Is the world around you harmonious? Are your worldly affairs bearable? Is it easy to save sentient beings? Are they not filled with greed, anger, foolishness, avarice, and pride? Are they mindful of their parents? Do they respect shramanas? Do they not have false views or erring thoughts? Do they control the desires of their 5 senses? O Bhagavat, do the sentient beings conquer Maras? Has the Tathagata Prabhuta sitting in the 7-jeweled stupa long after his parinirvana, come here to hear the Dharma? Furthermore, he inquired of the Tathagata Prabhuta, saying, are you at ease and without pain? O Bhagavat, will your life be long and endured with patience? I now wish to see the body of the Buddha Prabhuta. I entreat you, O Bhagavat, to manifest and show it to me. At that time, the Buddha Shakyamuni said to the Buddha Prabhuta, this bodhisattva Gadgadasvara wants to see you. Then the Buddha Prabhuta addressed Gadgadasvara, saying, Splendid, splendid. You have paid homage to the Buddha Shakyamuni and heard the Lotus Sutra, and have come here in order to see Manjushri and others. Thereupon, Bodhisattva Padmashri addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, what roots of good merit has this Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara planted? And what merits has he practiced to attain these transcendent powers? As a result of his deeds, he was born in the world of the Buddha Kamaladala Vimala Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bija, and has attained his transcendent powers. O Padmashri, what do you think about this? Is Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara, who paid homage to the Buddha Megadundu Bisvararaja with music and jeweled vessels, someone unknown? Bodhisattva Mahasattva Gadgadasvara here present is one and the same. O Padma Shri, having closely and respectfully attended innumerable Buddhas and planted roots of good merit over a long time, this Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara met hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of nayutas of Buddhas, equal in number to the sands of the Ganges River. O Padma Shri, you think that the body of Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara exists only here. However, this Bodhisattva manifests himself in various bodies. He has thus taught this sutra in many places for the sake of the sentient beings. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of Brahma. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of Chakra. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of Isvara. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of Maheshvara. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of a wealthy man. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of a householder. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of a state official. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of a Brahmin. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of a monk, nun, layman or laywoman. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of the wife of a wealthy man or a householder. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of the wife of a state official. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of the wife of a Brahmin. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of a boy or a girl. Sometimes he has appeared in the form of a human, or a non-human such as a deva, naga, yaksha, gandharva, asura, garuda, kinara, or mahoraga. In this way, he has expounded this sutra and saved those in the states of being of hell-dwellers, hungry ghosts, animals, and those in difficult circumstances. Sometimes he has transformed himself into a female in royal harems and taught this sutra. O Padma Shri, this Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara saves all beings in the Saha world. This Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara has transformed himself into various forms and taught this sutra for the sake of all sentient beings. Nevertheless, his transcendent power has never decreased, nor his power of transformation or his wisdom. This Bodhisattva illuminates the Saha world with his great wisdom and causes every sentient being to attain what should be known. He does exactly the same in all the worlds of the 10 directions, which are equal in number to the sands of the Ganges River. If he is able to save them in the form of a Shravaka, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a Shravaka. If he is able to save them in the form of a Prateka Buddha, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a Prateka Buddha. If he is able to save them in the form of a Bodhisattva, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a Bodhisattva. If he is able to save them in the form of a Buddha, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a Buddha. Thus he transforms himself in various ways according to the capacities of those who are to be saved. If he is able to save them by means of parinirvana, he manifests parinirvana to them. O Padma Shri, Bodhisattva Mahasattva Gadgadasvara has achieved his transcendent powers and the power of wisdom in just such a manner. Thereupon Bodhisattva Padma Shri addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, deep are the roots of good merit that this Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara has planted. O Bhagavat, in what samadhi did this Bodhisattva dwell, such that he was able to appear in various places in this way, and bring sentient beings to the path. The Buddha answered Bodhisattva Padmasri, saying, O son of a virtuous family, that samadhi was called Savarupa Samdarshana. Dwelling in this samadhi, Bodhisattva Gadgadashvara has benefited innumerable sentient beings in this way. When this chapter, Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara, was being taught, those 84,000 people who had come with Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara attained the samadhi called Savarupa Samdarshana. Innumerable bodhisattvas in this Saha world also attained this samadhi and dharani. Then Bodhisattva Mahasattva Gadgadasvara paid homage to the Buddha Shakyamuni and the stupa of the Buddha Prabhutaratna, and returned to his own world. Those worlds through which he travelled quaked in 6 ways, and it rained jewelled lotus flowers. Hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of variegated music was heard. Having returned to his own world, he approached the Buddha Kamaladala Vimala Nakshatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, surrounded by 84,000 bodhisattvas, and said to him, O Bhagavat, I have been to the Saha world and benefited the sentient beings. Having seen the Buddha Shakyamuni and the stupa of the Buddha Prabhutaratna, I paid homage to them and made them offerings. Having seen Bodhisattva Manjushri, the Prince of the Dharma, Bodhisattva Baisaja Raja, Bodhisattva Virya Bala Vega Prapta, and Bodhisattva Pradhanasura, I caused these 84,000 bodhisattvas to attain the samadhi called Savarupa Samdarshana. When this chapter, the coming and going of Bodhisattva Gadgadasvara, was taught, 42,000 sons of the Devas attained the acceptance of the non-origination of all dharmas, and Bodhisattva Padmasri attained the Saddharma Puṇḍarīka Samadhi. Chapter 25. The Gateway to Every Direction, manifested by Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. Homage to Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. Namo Avalokiteshvara. Under normal Sanskrit Sandhi transformation, it can also be chanted as Namo Valokiteshvara. Verse for opening a sutra. The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of eons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. Thereupon, arising from his seat with his right shoulder bared, Bodhisattva Akshayamati faced the Buddha with his palms pressed together, and spoke thus to him. O Bhagavat, for what reason is Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, hearer of the sounds of the world, called Avalokiteshvara? The Buddha answered Bodhisattva Akshayamati, saying, O son of a virtuous family, if innumerable hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of sentient beings who experience suffering hear of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara and wholeheartedly chant his name, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara will immediately perceive their voices and free them from their suffering. Even if those who hold to the name of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara were to enter a great fire, because of this Bodhisattva's transcendent power, the fire would not be able to burn them. If they were adrift on the great waters, by chanting his name, they would reach the shallows. There are hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of sentient beings who enter the great ocean to seek such treasures as gold, silver, lapis lazuli, mother of pearl, agate, coral, amber, and pearl. Even if a cyclone were to blow the ship of one of these toward the land of Rakshasa demons, they would all become free from the danger of those Rakshasa demons if there were even a single person among them who chanted the name of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. For this reason, he is called Avalokiteshvara. If anyone, whether guilty or innocent, is bound with fetters or chains, such bonds will be broken into pieces, and those who have been bound will become free by chanting the name of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. When a caravan leader travels on a dangerous road, together with his fellow merchants, carrying precious treasures in a great manifold cosmos filled with evil robbers, if there be a single person who says, "O sons of a virtuous family, do not fear," you should wholeheartedly chant the name of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. This Bodhisattva bestows fearlessness upon sentient beings. If you chant his name, you will be free from these evil robbers. Now, if those merchants chant loudly in unison, saying, "Homage to Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara," then, by chanting his name, the caravan will immediately gain deliverance. O Akshayamati, the transcendent power of Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara is as great and mighty as this. If there are any sentient beings who are greatly subject to sensual desires, if they contemplate Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara with respect, they will become free from those desires. If there are any sentient beings who often become angry, if they contemplate Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara with respect, they will become free from anger. If there are any sentient beings who are greatly confused, if they contemplate Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara with respect, they will become free from their confusion. O Akshayamati, thus Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara greatly benefits sentient beings through his transcendent power. For this reason, sentient beings should always turn their thoughts to him. If any woman wanting to have a baby boy pays homage and makes offerings to Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, she will bear a baby boy endowed with good merit and wisdom. If she wants to have a baby girl, she will bear a beautiful and handsome baby girl who has planted roots of good merit and will have the love of sentient beings. Akshayamati answered, saying, O Bhagavat, it is great. Namo Avalokiteshvara. The Buddha said, if there is anyone who holds to the name of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, and anyone who pays homage to him, and makes offerings even for a moment, the merit of these two people will be equal and the same. It will never be extinguished after hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of kalpas. O Akshayamati, those who hold to the name of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara will attain such benefits of immeasurable and limitless merit. The Bodhisattva Akshayamati addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, how does Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara wander through this Saha world? How does he teach the Dharma for the sake of sentient beings? What of his power of skillful means? The Buddha said to Bodhisattva Akshayamati, O son of a virtuous family, if there is any land where sentient beings are to be saved by the form of a Buddha, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a Buddha. To those who are to be saved by the form of a Pratyeka Buddha, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a Pratyeka Buddha. To those who are to be saved by the form of a Shravaka, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a Shravaka. To those who are to be saved by the form of Brahma, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of Brahma. To those who are to be saved by the form of Shakra, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of Shakra. To those who are to be saved by the form of Ishvara, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of Ishvara. To those who are to be saved in the form of Maheshvara, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of Maheshvara. To those who are to be saved by the form of the great commander of the Devas, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of the great commander of the Devas. To those who are to be saved in the form of Vaishravana, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of Vaishravana. To those who are to be saved by the form of a minor king, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a minor king. To those who are to be saved by the form of a wealthy man, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a wealthy man. To those who are to be saved by the form of a householder, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a householder. To those who are to be saved by the form of a state official, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a state official. To those who are to be saved by the form of a Brahmin, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a Brahmin. To those who are to be saved by the form of a monk, nun, layman, or laywoman, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a monk, nun, layman, or laywoman. To those who are to be saved by the form of a wife of either a wealthy man, a householder, a state official, or a Brahmin, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of such a wife. To those who are to be saved by the form of a boy or girl, he teaches the Dharma by changing himself into the form of a boy or a girl. For this reason, you should wholeheartedly pay homage to Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. This Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara bestows fearlessness in times of fearful calamity. For this reason, everybody in this Saha world calls him Abhayamdada, giver of fearlessness. The Bodhisattva Akshayamati addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, I shall now pay homage to Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. He then took from his neck a many-jeweled necklace worth hundreds of thousands of gold coins, gave it to him, and said, I entreat you to accept this rare jeweled necklace for the Dharma. At that time, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara did not dare to receive it. Akshayamati addressed Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, I entreat you to accept this necklace out of pity for us. Then the Buddha said to Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, You should accept this necklace out of pity for such humans and non-humans as this Buddha Akshayamati, the fourfold assembly, Devas, Nagas, Yakshas, Gandharvas, Asuras, Garudas, Kinnaras, and Mahoragas. The Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara accepted the necklace out of pity for the fourfold assembly, devas, nagas, humans, non-humans, and the rest. He then divided it into 2 parts, and gave one part to the Buddha Shakyamuni, and the other part to the stupa of the Buddha Prabhuta. O Akshayamati, with such inherent transcendent powers, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara wanders throughout the Saha world. Thereupon Bodhisattva Akshayamati asked a question in verse, saying, O Bhagavat, endowed with excellent marks, I now wish to ask you about him once again. For what reason is the heir of the Buddha named Avalokiteshvara? The Bhagavat, endowed with excellent marks, answered Akshayamati in verse, Listen to the practices of Avalokiteshvara, which have their application to all. His vow is deep like the ocean, and his kalpa is of inconceivable length. After having attended many thousands of kotis of Buddhas, he made a great pure vow. I will now explain it to you in brief. If you hear his name and see his body, and contemplate him in thought, your life will not be in vain, and you will extinguish all suffering. If anyone wants to hurt you, and pushes you into a great fire pit, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, the fire pit will change into a pond. If you drift upon the great ocean and meet danger from dragons, fish, and demons, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, you will not be swallowed by the waves. Namo Avalokiteshvara. If you are on the peak of Sumeru and are pushed by somebody, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, you will stay suspended in the air like the sun. If any evil one chases you and pushes you from Mount Diamond, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, not even a single hair will be hurt. If evil robbers surround you, each with a sword and the intent to harm, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, the thought of mercy will awaken in them. If you suffer under the punishment of a king, and your life is to be ended by execution, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, the sword will be immediately broken into pieces. Namo Avalokiteshvara. If you are imprisoned with a neck chain, your hands and feet fettered, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, they will disappear and you will be released. If anyone wants to hurt your body with a curse or poison, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, these ills will return and afflict their authors. Namo Avalokiteshvara. If you meet evil rakshasas, poisonous dragons, or demons, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, they will not dare to hurt you. If you are surrounded by evil animals whose teeth and claws are fearfully sharp, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, they will run away swiftly and to an immeasurable distance. If there are lizards, snakes, vipers, or scorpions, whose breath is poisonous like a flaming smoke, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, they will turn away swiftly at the sound of your voice. If thunder resounds, lightning flashes, hail falls, and a great rain pours out of the clouds, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, they will disappear immediately. Namo Avalokiteshvara. If sentient beings are in great adversity, and immeasurable pain afflicts them, the wonderful power of the wisdom of Avalokiteshvara can relieve the suffering of the world. Endowed with transcendent powers, and having fully mastered wisdom and skillful means, in all the worlds of the 10 directions, there is no place where he will not manifest himself. Namo Avalokiteshvara. The suffering of those in the troubled states of being, hell-dwellers, hungry ghosts, and animals, and the suffering of birth, old age, illness, and death will gradually be extinguished. He who perceives the world with truth, purity, and vast knowledge, and with benevolence and compassion, should be ever longed for and looked up to. Namo Avalokiteshvara. He is a spotless, pure ray of light, a sun of wisdom that destroys the darkness, a flame that withstands the winds of calamity. He brilliantly illuminates the entire world. His will, the essence of which is compassion, shakes like thunder, and the mind of mercy like a beautiful overspreading cloud, which pours the Dharma rain of immortality and extinguishes the flame of desires. In a dispute before judges, or fearful in the midst of battle, if you contemplate the power of Avalokiteshvara, all enemies will flee away. He has a wondrous voice, the voice of one who perceives the world, a voice like Brahma's, a voice like the rolling tide, a voice unsurpassed in this world. For this reason, you should always contemplate him. You should have no doubt, even for a moment. The pure seer Avalokiteshvara will be a refuge when suffering distress or the misery of death. He is endowed with every quality, sees the sentient beings with his benevolent eyes, and his ocean of merit is immeasurable. For this reason, you should pay him homage. At that time, Bodhisattva Dharanimdara arose from his seat, went before the Buddha, and said to him, O Bhagavat, if there are any sentient beings who hear of this chapter, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, and these effortless deeds, the manifestation of the gateway to all directions, and the transcendent powers, know that their merit will not be little. When the Buddha taught the chapter, The Gateway to Every Direction, the thought of incomparable highest complete enlightenment awoke in 84,000 sentient beings in the assembly. Homage to Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. Namo Avalokiteshvara. Namo Valokiteshvara. Chapter 26. Dharani. Thereupon, rising from his seat with his right shoulder bared, Bodhisattva Vaisajaraja faced the Buddha with his palms pressed together, and spoke to him, saying, O Bhagavat, if there is any son or daughter of a virtuous family who preserves the Lotus Sutra, and recites it, is versed in it, and copies it, how much merit will he or she attain? Then the Buddha addressed Vaisajaraja, saying, If there is any son or daughter of a virtuous family who pays homage to Buddhas numbering as many as the sands of 800 myriads of kotis of Nayutas of Ganges rivers, what do you think? Will the merit he or she attains be great or not? He answered, It will be great, O Bhagavat. The Buddha said, If any son or daughter of a virtuous family preserves a verse of 4 lines of this sutra, recites it, understands the meaning, or practices what it teaches, his or her merit will be very great. Thereupon, Bodhisattva Vaisajaraja addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, I will now give the Dharanis to the expounders of the Dharma and protect them. He then recited a dharani. Anye manye mane mamane chite charite sami samita visante mukte muktatame same abhisame osama same jaye kshaye akshaye akshine shante samite dharani alokavase pracheka vexani nidiru abhyantara nirviste abhyantara parisudi mutkule arade parade sukanksi asamasame Buddha vilokite dhamma pariksite samga nirgosana nirgoni baya baya visodane mantre mantre kasate rute rutaka usalye aksaye aksaya vanataye vakule valoda amanya nataye amanya natataye. O Bhagavat, this mantra dharani was spoken by Buddhas equal in number to the sands of 62 kotis of Ganges rivers. Anyone who attacks or slanders an expounder of the Dharma also attacks or slanders these Buddhas. Thereupon, the Buddha Shakyamuni praised Bodhisattva Vaisajaraja, saying, "Splendid, splendid, O Vaisajaraja! Out of compassion you have taught this dharani in order to protect the expounders of the Dharma. It will greatly benefit all sentient beings." Then Bodhisattva Pradhanasura addressed the Buddha, saying, "O Bhagavat, I also will teach a dharani in order to protect anyone who recites and preserves the Lotus Sutra. If expounders of the Dharma attain this dharani, no yaksha, rakshasa, putana, kritya, kumbanda, or hungry ghost will ever have a chance to strike at their weaknesses, even if they try to do so." In the presence of the Buddha, he taught a dharani, saying, "Jvale mahajvale, uke muke, adi adavati, nrite nrishavati, itini vitini chitini, nritanati nirtavati." O Bhagavat, this mantra dharani has been spoken by Buddhas equal in number to the sands of the Ganges river, and everyone has rejoiced in it. Anyone who attacks or slanders an expounder of the Dharma also attacks or slanders these Buddhas. Thereupon the Devaraja Vaishravana, a world protector, addressed the Buddha, saying, "O Bhagavat, I will also teach a dharani out of pity for sentient beings, and in order to protect expounders of the Dharma." He then recited a dharani, saying, "Ate nate vanate, anade nadi kunadi." O Bhagavat, with this mantra dharani, I protect the expounders of the Dharma. I will also protect those who hold to this sutra. All heavy cares shall be banished for 100 yojanas around. At that time, the Devaraja Dhritarashtra was present in the assembly, respectfully surrounded by thousands of myriads of kotis, of nayutas, of Gandharvas. He came before the Buddha together with them, and addressed the Buddha with his palms pressed together, saying, "O Bhagavat, with a mantra dharani I will also protect those who hold to the Lotus Sutra." He then recited the dharani, saying, "O Bhagavat, this mantra dharani was spoken by 42 kotis of Buddhas. Anyone who attacks or slanders an expounder of the Dharma also attacks or slanders these Buddhas." At that time there were 10 Rakshasis. Their names were Lamba, Vilamba, Kutadanti, Pushpadanti, Makudadanti, Kesini, Achala, Maladari, Kunti, and Sava Sattva-Johari. These 10 Rakshasis, together with Hariti and their children and retinues, came before the Buddha and addressed him in unison, saying, "O Bhagavat, we also want to protect those who recite and preserve the Lotus Sutra and rid them of their heavy cares. Those who try to strike at the expounders of the Dharma through their weaknesses shall never be able to do so." They then recited a dharani in the presence of the Buddha, saying, "Iti me, iti me, iti me, iti me, iti me. Nime, 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 nime. Ruhe, 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 ruhe. Stuhe, 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 stuhe." Let troubles come upon our heads, rather than distress the expounders of the Dharma. No yaksha, no rakshasa, no hungry ghost, no putana, no creature, no vetala, no skanda, no umarakara, no apasmarakara, no yaksha creature, no manusa creature. No fever for 1 day, for 2 days, for 3 days, for 4 days, or even up to 7 days, or at any time. No one in the form of a man, no one in the form of a woman, no one in the form of a boy, no one in the form of a maiden, no one who may appear even in a dream, in any of these forms shall cause them distress. They then spoke to the Buddha in verse, saying, "If anyone does not accept my dharani, and troubles one who expounds the Dharma, his head will be split into 7 pieces, just like a branch of the Ajaka tree. Consider the transgression of parricide, of pressing sesame mixed with impurities, of cheating people with scales. Consider the transgression committed by Devadatta, who divided the Sangha. Those who slander this expounder of the Dharma shall suffer consequences such as these." After having spoken these verses, the Rakshasis addressed the Buddha, saying, "O Bhagavat, we also want to protect those who preserve, recite, and practice this sutra, and cause them to live at ease, rid them of their weighty cares, and drive out various poisons." The Buddha said to the Rakshasis, "Splendid, splendid. You protect those who preserve the name of the Lotus Sutra. Your merit is immeasurable. How much more merit is there in protecting those who perfectly preserve and revere the sutra in various ways, such as by offering flowers, perfumes, necklaces, fragrant ointments, scented powders, burning incense, banners, canopies, and music, or by lighting ghee lamps, oil lamps, fragrant oil lamps, lamps of oil made from sumanas, champaka, vasika, and utpala flowers. How much more merit is there in offering such things in hundreds to thousands of ways? O Kunti, you and your retinue should protect the expounders of the Dharma in this way." When this chapter, Dharani, was taught, 68,000 people attained the acceptance of the non-origination of all dharmas. It is more difficult to meet a Buddha than to see Udumbara flowers. It is also difficult to escape from adversity. We entreat you to allow us to renounce household life. Chapter 27. Ancient Accounts of King Subhavyuha. Thereupon, the Buddha addressed the great assembly, saying, "Once upon a time, immeasurable, limitless, inconceivable, and incalculable kalpas ago, there was a Buddha named Jala Dara Gajita Gosa Susvara Naksata Raja Jasam Kusumita Bija, a Tathagata, Arhat, completely enlightened. His land was called Vairochana Rasmi Pratimandita, and the kalpa was named Priyadarshana. There was a king practicing the teaching of the Buddha. He was called Subhavyuha, and his consort was named Vimaladatta. They had 2 sons. One was named Vimalagarbha, and the other Vimalanetra. The 2 sons were endowed with great transcendent power, merit, and wisdom, and practiced the bodhisattva path for a long time. They were versed in the perfections of giving, dana, good conduct, sila, perseverance, kshanti, effort, virya, meditation, jhana, wisdom, prajna, and skillful means and compassion, benevolence, joy, and generosity, as well as the 37 helpful ways to attain the Dharma. Furthermore, they were also versed in the bodhisattva samadhis of Vimala, Nakshatra Raja Dicha, Vimala Nibasa, Vimala Rupa, Vimala Bisa, Alamkara Subha, and Mahate Jogaba. Then the Buddha, wanting to guide King Subhavyuha, and out of compassion for sentient beings, taught this Lotus Sutra. At that time, Prince Vimalagarbha and Prince Vimalanetra approached their mother and addressed her with their palms and 10 fingers pressed together, saying, "We entreat you, O Mother, to go before the Buddha Jala Dara Gajita Gosa Susvara Naksatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna. We shall also go before him together with you, attend him, make offerings to him, and pay him homage." Why is this? Because this Buddha teaches the Lotus Sutra amid the assembly of all the devas and humans. Thus we should all listen to him. Their mother answered the sons, saying, "Your father follows heresies and is deeply attached to the teachings of the Brahmins. You should go to your father to ask him to come with us." Vimalagarbha and Vimalanetra said to their mother with their palms and 10 fingers pressed together, "We are the children of the king of the Dharma, although we were born in this house of wrong views." The mother replied to her son, saying, "You should have compassion for your father and show him great miracles. If he sees them, his mind will certainly be purified. He will then allow us to go before the Buddha." Thereafter the 2 sons jumped up into the air as high as 7 tala trees, and out of their love for their father showed him various miracles. They walked, stood, sat, and slept in the air, causing water to flow from their upper bodies, and blowing fire out of their lower bodies, causing water to flow from their lower bodies, and blowing fire out of their upper bodies, enlarging their bodies so that they filled the air, making them small, and then enlarging them again, disappearing in mid-air and instantly reappearing on the earth, entering the earth as if it were water, and walking on the water as though on the earth. By showing various marvels like these, they purified their father's mind and caused him to believe them. When their father saw the transcendent powers of his sons, he rejoiced a great deal at this unprecedented experience and addressed his sons with his palms pressed together, saying, "Who is your teacher?" Whose pupils are you?" The two sons said, "O great king, the Buddha Jala Dara Gajita Gosa Susvara Naksatra Raja Samkusumita Bitra is now sitting on the seat of the Dharma under the 7-jeweled Bodhi tree and teaching the Lotus Sutra extensively to the assembly of all the devas and humans in this world. He is our teacher. We are his pupils." The father said to his sons, "I now also wish to see your teacher. Let me go with you." Thereupon the two sons descended from the air, approached their mother, and addressed her with their palms pressed together, saying, "Our father believed us, and the thought of highest complete enlightenment can now awaken in him. We have done the Buddha's work for the sake of our father. We entreat you, O Mother, to allow us to renounce household life and practice the Bodhisattva path under the guidance of that Buddha." At that time, the two sons addressed their mother in verse, wanting to elaborate on this meaning further, saying, "We entreat you, O Mother, to allow us to renounce household life and to become Shamanas. It is extremely difficult to meet Buddhas. We will learn by following this Buddha. It is more difficult to meet a Buddha than to see Udumbara flowers. It is also difficult to escape from adversity. We entreat you to allow us to renounce household life." Their mother addressed them immediately, saying, "I give my consent for you to renounce household life. What is the reason for this? It is because it is difficult to meet a Buddha." Then the two sons addressed their parents, saying, "Splendid, O father and mother, we entreat you now to approach and meet the Buddha Jaladhara Gajita Gosa Susvara Naksatra Raja Samkusumita Bitra and pay homage to him. Why is this? Because it is difficult to meet a Buddha, just as it is to see Udumbara flowers or for a one-eyed turtle to find the hole in a floating piece of wood. Because of our profound merits accumulated in the past, we were born to meet the Buddha Dharma. For this reason, our mother and father should allow us to renounce household life. Why is this? Because it is difficult to meet Buddhas, and it is also difficult to obtain an opportunity for meeting them. At that time, 84,000 women in the palace of King Subhavyuha all became capable of preserving this Lotus Sutra. Bodhisattva Vimalanetra had already been versed in the Saddharma Puṇḍarīka Samadhi for a long time, and Bodhisattva Vimalagarbha had also been versed in the Sava Sattva Papa Jhana Samadhi for immeasurable hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of kalpas, for he wanted all sentient beings to be separated from evil states of being. The consort of that king attained the Sava Buddha Samgiti Samadhi, and the secret treasure house of the Buddhas was revealed to her. In this way, the two sons inspired their father through the power of their skillful means, and caused him to have faith and pleasure in the Buddha Dharma. Then King Subhavyuha, together with his subjects and retinue, Queen Vimaladatta, together with her servants and retinue, and the two princes, together with 42,000 people, came before the Buddha at the same time. In the air, they transformed into a 4-pillared jeweled platform. On the platform was a great jeweled bed, spread with hundreds of thousands of myriads of heavenly clothes. The Buddha sat cross-legged upon it, emitting great rays of light. Then King Subhavyuha thought, The Buddha's form is marvelous, most superior in dignity, and given perfection by the most delicate countenance. Thereupon the Buddha, Jala Dara Gajita Gosa Susvara Naksatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna, addressed the fourfold assembly, saying, "Do you see King Subhavyuha standing with his palms pressed together in my presence? This king has become a monk in my Dharma. He will diligently practice the Dharma that aids those on the Buddha path, and will become a Buddha. He will be called Sailendra Raja. His land will be called Vistirnavati, and the Kalpa Abudya Gata Raja. With this Buddha, Sailendra Raja will be innumerable bodhisattvas and shravakas. His land will be level, such will be his merits." That king immediately gave his kingdom to his younger brother. He renounced household life and practiced the Buddha Dharma together with his queen, 2 sons, and their retinue. For a period of 84,000 years after their renunciation, the king continued to make diligent efforts and practiced the Lotus Sutra. After this, he attained the Sava Gunala Mkara Vyuha Samadhi. He ascended instantly into the air to a height of 7 tala trees and addressed the Buddha, saying, "O Bhagavat, my 2 sons have done the Buddha's work. Through their miracles they have reformed my erring mind, so that I dwell in the Buddha Dharma. These 2 sons are my good friends. They enabled me to see the Bhagavat. It was because they wanted to nurture the roots of good merit accumulated in my past and benefit me that they were born in my house." Thereupon the Buddha Jaladhara Gajita Gosa Susvara Naksatra Raja Samkusumita Bijna addressed King Subhavyuha, saying, Exactly. It is exactly as you have said. If the sons and daughters of a virtuous family make good friends throughout many lives, after having planted roots of good merit, those good friends will perform the Buddha's work, illuminating, teaching, benefiting, and gladdening them, and will cause them to enter highest complete enlightenment. O great king, you should know that a good friend is indeed the great spur that brings inspiration to others, causing them to meet a Buddha and the thought of highest complete enlightenment to awaken in them. O great king, do you see these 2 sons? These 2 sons have already paid homage to Buddhas equal in number to the sands of 6,500 thousands of myriads of kotis of Nayutas of Ganges rivers, closely attended the Buddhas with respect, accepted the Lotus Sutra in their presence, and in their compassion caused sentient beings with false views to dwell in right views. Immediately after that, King Subhavyuha descended from the air and addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, the Tathagata is extraordinary. Because he is endowed with merits and wisdom, his top knot is brilliantly illuminated, his deep blue eyes are long and wide, the tuft of hair between his eyebrows is white like the bright moon, his white teeth are even and always shining, and his scarlet lips are like the bimba fruit in their beauty. At that time, King Subhavyuha praised immeasurable hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of qualities of the Buddha like these, and, again, wholeheartedly addressed the Buddha with his palms pressed together in the presence of the Tathagata, saying, O Bhagavat, this is unprecedented. The Tathagata's Dharma is endowed and perfected with inconceivable subtle qualities. His teaching, integrity, and deeds are serene and comfortable. From today on, we shall never act selfishly, and the wrongful thoughts of false views, pride, and anger shall never awaken in us. Having spoken these words, he bowed to the Buddha and went away. The Buddha addressed the great assembly, saying, "What do you think about this? Is King Subhavyuha someone unknown? He is none other than this Bodhisattva, Padma Shri. His queen, Vimaladatta, is none other than this Vairochana Rasmi Pramandita Dvairaja, now in the presence of the Buddha. Because she had compassion for King Subhavyuha and his retinue, she was born here. These two sons are none other than Bodhisattva Paisajya Raja and Bodhisattva Paisajya Samudgata. These bodhisattvas, Paisajya Raja and Paisajya Samudgata, perfected great qualities such as these, and having planted many roots of good merit under the guidance of innumerable hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of Buddhas, perfected inconceivable good merit. If anyone holds the names of these two bodhisattvas in memory, the devas and humans in this entire world will certainly pay homage to these bodhisattvas." When the Buddha taught this chapter, Ancient Accounts of King Subhavyuha, 84,000 people removed themselves from impurity, rid themselves of defilement, and attained pure Dharma eyes with which to see the teachings. Chapter 28. Encouragement of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. Thereupon, Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, through his effortless transcendent power, dignity, and fame, arrived from the east together with innumerable, limitless, and incalculable numbers of great bodhisattvas. All the lands quaked universally. Wherever he passed, jeweled lotus flowers rained down, and immeasurable hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of kinds of music were heard. He was surrounded by a great assembly of innumerable beings, humans and such non-humans as devas, nagas, yakshas, Gandharvas, asuras, garudas, kinnaras, and mahoragas, each manifesting dignity and transcendent powers. He then arrived at Mount Gridakutra in the Saha world. He prostrated himself before Shakyamuni Buddha and circled around him to the right. He then addressed him, saying, "O Bhagavat, afar in the land of the Buddha, Ratna Tejo Byudgara Raja, I heard you expound the Lotus Sutra in this Saha world. I have come here to listen to you, together with the assembly of immeasurable and limitless hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of bodhisattvas. I entreat you, O Bhagavat, to teach us how the sons and daughters of a virtuous family may attain the Lotus Sutra after the parinirvana of the Tathagata." The Buddha said to Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, "After the parinirvana of the Tathagata, the sons and daughters of a virtuous family will attain the Lotus Sutra if they achieve the 4 necessary accomplishments. The first is to be protected by the Buddhas. The second is to plant roots of good merit. The third is to enter a group of those who are rightly resolute. And the fourth is to awaken the thought of saving all sentient beings. Those sons and daughters of a virtuous family will definitely attain this sutra after the parinirvana of the Tathagata, if they perfect these 4 accomplishments. Then Bodhisattva Samantabhadra addressed the Buddha, saying, O Bhagavat, if there are those who preserve this sutra in the troubled world of 500 years after, I will protect them and rid them of their heavy cares, cause them to attain happiness, and allow no one to strike at them through their weaknesses. I will not give Mara any chance to afflict them, nor the sons of Mara, daughters of Mara, minions of Mara, those possessed by Mara, yakshas, rakshasas, kumbhandas, pisachas, creatures, putanas, or vetalas. If they recite this sutra, whether walking or standing, I will then come before them on a white elephant king with 6 tusks, together with the assembly of great bodhisattvas, manifest myself, pay homage and protect them, and console their minds for the sake of revering the Lotus Sutra. They will attain dharanis like these. O Bhagavat, in the troubled world of 500 years after, those monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen who seek, preserve, recite, copy, and wish to practice this Lotus Sutra should persevere single-mindedly for 21 days. After a full 21 days, I will appear on a white elephant with 6 tusks, accompanied by innumerable bodhisattvas, who themselves will also be surrounded by their retinues, and manifest myself before sentient beings in whatever form they wish to see. Then I will expound and teach the Dharma to them, and gladden them. I will also give them a dharani spell. When they attain this dharani, non-humans will have no power to destroy them, and women no power to trouble them. I myself will also protect these people. Adande Dangapati, Danda Vatani, Danda Kusale, Danda Sudari, Sudri, Sudrapati, Buddha Pasyane, Savadarani, Avatani. Savabhasya Vatane, Su Avatane, Samga Pariksani, Samga Nirgatani, Asamge Samgapagate, Tri Adva Samgatulya Prapte, Sava Samga Samatikrante, Savadama Suparixite, Sava Sattva Rutaka Kausalya Nugate, Simha Vikridite. O Bhagavat, if there is any bodhisattva who hears this dharani, he should know it is because of the transcendent power of Samantabhadra. If there is anyone who accepts the Lotus Sutra practice in Jambudvipa, he should think, this is nothing but Samantabhadra's virtuous power. If there is anyone who preserves, recites, correctly remembers, understands this meaning and practices in accordance with the teaching, know that they are practicing the practice of Samantabhadra. They plant deep roots of good merit in the presence of innumerable and limitless Buddhas. The Tathagatas will caress their heads. If they copy this sutra, after their death they will be born in the Triyastrimsa heaven. At that time, 84,000 heavenly maidens will welcome them, performing various kinds of music. They will wear 7 jeweled coronets and be happy among their female servants. How much more for those who preserve, recite, remember correctly, understand the meaning, and practice in accordance with the teaching. If there is anyone who preserves, recites, and understands this meaning, at the end of their life, 1,000 Buddhas will offer their hands, so that they will neither be afraid nor fall into the troubled states of being. They will thus arrive in the Tushita heaven of Bodhisattva Maitreya, who is endowed with the 32 marks and surrounded by an assembly of great bodhisattvas and a retinue of hundreds of thousands of myriads of kotis of heavenly maidens. There they will be born, and such will be their merit and benefits. For this reason, the wise should wholeheartedly copy, move others to copy, preserve, recite, and remember it correctly, and practice in accordance with the teaching. O Bhagavat, through my transcendent powers, I now protect, extensively distribute, and keep this sutra from extermination in Jambudvipa after the parinirvana of the Tathagata. Thereupon the Buddha Shakyamuni praised him, saying, Splendid, splendid, O Samantabhadra. You will protect this sutra and bring benefit and happiness to sentient beings in many places. You have already accomplished inconceivable merits and profound compassion. Long, long ago, the thought of highest complete enlightenment awakened in you, and you made this vow of transcendent power. I will protect this sutra. Through my transcendent powers, I will protect the one who holds to the name of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. O Samantabhadra, if there is anyone who preserves, recites, correctly remembers, practices, and copies this Lotus Sutra, they should know that they will meet the Buddha Shakyamuni and hear this sutra from the mouth of the Buddha. By this, they should know that they are paying homage to the Buddha Shakyamuni. They should know that they will be praised by the Shakyamuni Buddha with the word splendid. They should know that the hand of the Buddha Shakyamuni will caress their heads. They should know that they will be clad in the robe of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Such people are not attached to worldly pleasures. They dislike heretical scriptures and writings. They are not pleased to consort with heretics, wicked people, butchers, those who keep boars, sheep, chickens, or dogs, hunters, or those who make a living by pandering. They will be honest in mind and will have correct recollection and the power of merit. They will not be troubled by the 3 kinds of poison, nor will they be confused by jealousy, selfishness, false pride, or arrogance. Having little desire, they can know satisfaction and practice the practice of Samantabhadra. O Samantabhadra, if you meet anyone who preserves and recites the Lotus Sutra 500 years after the parinirvana of the Tathagata, you should think like this. This man will before long approach the terrace of enlightenment, destroy the hosts of Mara, attain highest complete enlightenment, turn the wheel of the Dharma, beat the drum of the Dharma, blow the conch of the Dharma, pour down the rain of the Dharma, and will sit on the lion seat of the Dharma in the great assembly of devas and humans. O Samantabhadra, those who preserve and recite this sutra in the future world will not be greedy for clothes, bedding, food and drink, and the necessities of life. Their aspirations will not be unrewarded, and their happy reward will be attained in this world. If there is anyone who despises them, saying, "You are mad. This practice of yours is in vain, and will attain nothing at the end," they will have no eyes lifetime after lifetime as a retribution for this wrongdoing. If there is anyone who pays them homage and praises them, he will attain tangible rewards in this world. If anyone sees those who preserve this sutra and speaks maliciously about their faults, whether true or not, such a person will suffer from leprosy in this life. If anyone scorns them that person's teeth will be either loose or missing. Their lips will be ugly, their nose will be flat, their limbs will be crooked, they will squint. Their body will stink and be dirty, suffering from evil tumors, oozing pus. Their belly will swell with water, and they will have tuberculosis and other evil and serious illnesses. When the Buddha had taught this sutra, the entire great assembly of bodhisattvas, including Samantabhadra, the Shravakas, including Shariputra, Devas, Nagas, humans and non-humans, rejoiced greatly, accepted the Buddha's words, bowed to him, and departed. By the universal transference of this merit, may we and all other beings together attain the Buddha path.